Welcome to the very first episode of Compleat's Top 5. Today, we are going to take a look at the 5 strongest win conditions currently defining ladder and the quick constructed event in Magic the Gathering Arena. Win condition, or win con, is the primary way for a deck to seize victory in a game. Technically speaking, that is as easy as getting the opponent down to 0 life points, and especially aggressive decks have multiple ways of doing so. That being said, they generally have that one card that wins them the game if they untap with it. We have based our pick on several criteria: the popularity and strength of the card and the deck that runs it, its immediate board impact, the lingering threat, and its strength in the MTGA specific best of one environment. Before we begin with the actual list, we'd like to give an honorable mention to God Pharaoh's Gift. Although slightly increasing in popularity over the last week, this infamous standard contender is lacking some Kaladesh cards to actually make waves in Magic the Gathering Arena. Nevertheless, GPG is incredibly powerful and will often one-turn kill the opponent should it resolve. It can be cheated into the game early through the use of Gator to the Afterlife, and is currently being run in blue-red and mono-red Goblin suits. You can find the decklist examples in our meta snapshot link below. And now for the biggest and the baddest. Number 5, Carnage Tyrant. Most commonly ran in the green-red mid-range and mono-green aggro decks, this hex-proof, uncounterable dinosaur clad in pointy metal armor is as scary as it's hard to deal with, as it can only be answered through the use of discard mechanic and untargetable removal or chump blocking. It can quickly end games against the control decks lacking immediate answers to it. With its powerful hex-proof trampling 7/6 body, Carnage Tyrant appears in roughly 11% of the meta's deck list and earns this overgrown sand lizard a spot on ours. Number 4, Scarab God. The only forgotten god of Amonkhet to make our list is definitely a force to be reckoned with. As a finisher in the UB control deck, this 5-mana tribute to Paul McCartney is present in roughly 10% of the meta. Although the deck itself lost some popularity to the blue-white control lists, Scarab God still hunts Arena ladder for mid-range and slower aggro decks. Scarab God's recurrent 5/5 body is not a laughing matter on its own, but what really pushes the card over the top are its ability to not only reanimate your and your opponent's creatures, but also fix your draw and ultimately drain your opponent while doing so. Untapping with a Scarab God will more often than not lead to victory, or at the very least swing the odds vastly in your favor. Number 3, Approach of the Second Sun. Approach of the Second Sun is an incredibly controversial card in MTG Arena's community, as the only 2 common forms of removal that can deal with it, counterspells and discard, are limited to blue and black decks, and the other answers are too specific to be ran in the best of one main board. This control finisher often causes frustration and dismay amongst his opponent. Approach of the Second Sun is the most common finisher in MTG Arena's blue-white control decks that take up roughly 9% of the meta. It's one of the 2 tier 1 decks currently dominating the ladder and quick constructed event. Although frustrating to deal with, Approach often only shortens a game the player has already won and would otherwise take several more turns to finish. The card actually derives its power from the incredible blue-white control suit and is not inherently too powerful on its own. Number 2, Hazoret the Fervent. The ultimate predator of the ladder, God of Zeal, is even more popular in MTG Arena than she is in the standard format. As the best of one environment vastly favors linear game plans, raw power, and draw consistency, it's not at all surprising nearly 27% of the metagame consists of the mono-red aggro. Hazoret, a 5/4 indestructible creature with haste, and the ability to turn dead cards in hand into damage is one of the reasons why. At only 4 mana cost, she's not only hard to deal with, but her secondary ability makes her a 1-2 turn clock almost every time. As the only downside, her inability to attack if the controller has more than 1 card in hand is almost never an issue with mono-red aggro. The only question that remains is, who thought it was a good idea to equip an Angry Terrier with a Bident? Number 1, Teferi, Hero of the Minaria. When you see Idris Elba donning a robe and wielding a staff, you know you're in for a treat. Everything about this card, including the posture of the time mage on the artwork itself, just screams, yeah, what are you gonna do about it? An immediate staple of blue-white mid-range and control standard, is probably the most powerful planeswalker printed since Liliana of the Veil. At 5 CMC, it doesn't only instantly regain card advantage. If resolved, it also untaps 2 lands at the end of turn, allowing you to counterspell, remove, or even settle the wreckage the opponent's threat as early as turn 7. If one manages to untap with Teferi, they will often already gain an insurmountable advantage in a close matchup, or stabilize completely in a bad one. Albeit not a straight-up kill condition, Teferi is the biggest, baddest boogeyman right now, occupying roughly 17% of the decks in the meta. Do you agree or disagree with our list? Make sure to let us know in the comment section, on our Twitter, or join a discussion on our Discord channel. Until next time.